You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome to another episode of the Cocktail Lounge. I am your hostess with the mostest, Aggie, and with me as always is the ever suave, affable, and offerable Brad Slager. How are you doing this evening, Brad?
Doing well. Everything's going good. We've got a very exciting hockey team on our hands. We just got through the trade deadline. We got some good players out of the deal. So the best team in the league just got better. I'm that excited.
Yay for you.
You almost managed to mask your apathy.
I almost managed, yes. Well, no, I'm not apathetic. It's just I really don't pay attention to who gets traded for what or whatever. I just enjoy the game, regardless of who's playing. I really don't pay attention to stats or anything. I just like watching the game. So I really don't care who's playing for who. That's just the way I am. But hey, if it makes you happy, I win because you're in a great mood, and that makes the show even better.
See, there you go. Now, we've had picked up a pretty good veteran player on the last day, and then he managed to only put up a couple of goals and an assist on Saturday, contributing to a big 5-1 victory. So, yeah, we're smoking. And they just sent the Florida Panthers into your state right now. They're playing at this moment in Dallas.
Oh, they're playing the Dallas Stars. How quaint.
Oh, look at you, knowing the team name and everything.
Well, I do know team names. I'm just talking about like who plays for whom. I don't care as long as they play well. I mean, my babe is gone. He retired a long time ago, so forget it.
I know. I try to spread the passion, but it doesn't always take, I guess.
I am passionate about hockey, but just the game. I really couldn't care any less about the stats and who's playing for whom and who got traded where. No, I just want to watch the game.
Got it. Well, you're supposed to deeply involve yourself. You're supposed to be immersed in the statistics. You're supposed to know all the nuances to the roster. You know how it is. It's just basically just what guys do in order to not speak to their wives. It's kind of the way it works. Like, stop, honey, the period just started. You know, that kind of thing.
I know. All right, I guess.
Any women that are out there going, it's like, yeah, right. Same thing happens when the bathroom. Like, shut up, he's giving a rose. Oh, sorry, okay.
I don't watch that show, so I have no idea what that's even about.
I'm talking in generalities. I don't mean every woman watches.
No, seriously, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no concept of roses or whatever. I don't know what happens. I really don't know. I know the show exists, and is that why they show a rose in the? Well,
there's this show, and there's a single guy, and there's like a dozen whores that try to get him to pick them for a wife, and every episode he gives roses out to who he wants to keep, and then the ones that don't get a rose cry and bitch and say they're going to set the castle on fire or wherever they're at. And
so that's how the rose thing works. He gives it to the ones that he's considering.
I think.
Okay.
I don't know. The show's been on forever, and I see people talk about it, so I just glean these little nuggets off of what I hear
I
others
remember
say.
that there was a spoof that Psych did on it. And I was just trying to make that work in my head. I'm like, what's the deal with the whole giving this to somebody? I just don't get it. And my sister actually explained, it's like, that's the one he wants to keep. I'm like, oh, okay. Why can't he just say it? That doesn't work that way. I'm like, oh, okay, fine.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's like a ceremony, okay? And then it's like this whole thing, and they all line up, and there's like 10 of them, but he has 8 roses, and 2 of them are going to get left out. And, oh, my God, if I don't get it, I'm going to freak. That kind of crap, you know. It just...
Well, thank you. Now I know what the hell the rose means, and I'm not a little more sad for it.
Most of what I pick up on the show is through the promos they run on the weekend when I'm watching hockey. So, like, ABC is covering one of the games, and then it's on, and they just run the highlights. And there's always one girl in the corner weeping. It's like, if I don't get a rose, I'm going to flatten all the tires and stick knives and... Jeez.
I mean, what kind of woman goes on this show? They have to have certain mental issues, some sort of instability, because to even consider being on this show, you have to be wacko.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised. Has anything bad ever happened? I mean, have some of them snapped or something?
I don't know. Actually, I think there was... I saw like a headline the other day, something involving a bachelor and a rape or something like that. I don't even know.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's not my thing, so I'm completely unfamiliar.
Hence my fractured Cliff Notes version of what goes on. I've seen about 10 promos from it over the past 3 years, and I'm just guessing.
Well, it's okay. I'm the same way with DIY shows. I mean, I'll be sitting there and criticizing the hell out of everything, even though these are professionals doing everything. But then I'll be like looking back going, oh, no, Linda, you cannot put that vase there. That vase just overpowers that whole area. You need to move that vase to the floor. You know, I mean, I just start criticizing little things like that when they're setting, after they've done DIYing and they're setting everything nice and pretty in the room. And then it pisses me off to be watching another show and it's the same fucking vase. I'm like, do y'all not shop anywhere else?
Yeah. Are they still doing shiplap? Is that a thing? Is that still a thing?
Shiplap all over the place. Yeah, they still do the shiplap thing, and I mean there's some of the home shows. Some are more urban, others are still farmhouse styling. Some are more beach oriented, that kind of thing. So it depends on what you like. They have different things. So that's kind of cool.
I still don't really know what shiplap is because every time they put it up, I'm like, so it's wood.
Yes, it is. The reason it's called shiplap is that back at the turn of the century before last, 18th century or so, there wasn't a lot of building material available. So old ships would be completely dismantled, and that would be used to build homes. So that would be like the equivalent of plaster, or it's escaping me right now. Drywalling, and then you would put up the shiplap, and then on top of the shiplap you would put plaster, or you would put papering, you would put wallpaper, stuff to prevent draftiness from going through. So as the houses were renovated, instead of taking down the shiplap or insulating it better, they would put up drywall or paneling or something like that. So everybody would get excited when they're taking down all this stuff and they would find shiplap, because it's usually shiplap was made from very, very hardy woods, sort of like loblolly pine and everything. And so it has this very rigid quality. It's very sturdy, it lasts forever. And so that's why it was such a big deal when they found shiplap.
Oh, okay. Because Joanna Gaines was using it so much. I thought she was raiding like shipyards or something where old.
No, she got lucky. A lot of the homes built here in Texas were from because of the Houston Ship Channel. A lot of those ships would be dismantled, and the wood would go westward and homes will be rebuilt. And Waco was like a halfway point between Houston and Dallas and Fort Worth. And so it was a very big, thriving community, and that's where the shiplap would end up.
Can't you make just like new paneling?
Yeah, you can actually.
Get the wood, overlap it. There you go, done.
But, there's some people that really, like myself, I like to reuse a lot of stuff, Brad. I like to, if I can reuse an old piece of furniture or something that's been broken, I can repurpose it in some other way. I will do that. But yeah, she went a little crazy with the whole shiplap. So crazy that Chip gifted her a sweater, a Christmas sweater, an ugly sweater that just said shiplap on it in a Nordic design. It was hilarious, actually. She wears it every so often.
He's a wacky one, that guy.
So anyway.
Well, there was some bad news to come across yesterday. Zodiac Sports website is closing down.
Yeah, word came down that Deadspin is being bought out by some European group or something, and I cannot tell you the amount of schadenfreude that Ted Cruz has had over that particular bit of information.
Well, it's kind of funny because I didn't see a single person utter anything even approaching sympathy.
No, not a one.
Everybody was like, well, of course they're going out of business. That was like the most mundane, calm, friendly reaction was like, oh, they're still, it's about time for them to go.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like nobody was like, oh man, I'm going to miss it. Or they used to be really good at this. Or there was absolutely no lamentation on the fact that Deadspin is going the way of the...
Well, this is, of course, given what I do for a living, this is a site I'm familiar with where it was about, 2 or 3 years ago. They had new management come in and angered the staff because they said they wanted the sports website to concentrate on sports.
Wait, isn't that the original intent of Deadspin?
Pretty much, yeah. But the reason the staff was all mad was because, they did other things like cultural items and movies and this and that, augmenting the sports content. And a lot of times that content was getting more traffic than the sports itself and things of this nature.
Right.
Like, I think the original Deadspin staff was, I think they're the group that came up with the concept of the ratio on Twitter.
I would not be surprised.
They were the ones, they said, oh man, you're really, when this happens, it's a ratio. Like they made it their thing. It was their declaration and they made it into a parlance of America. So that's kind of their claim to fame. But anyway, when that management came in and it uttered these changes, like 50% of the staff walked out. Just like editors, writers, everybody was like, well, we're done. We're out of here. And this management was like, okay. And basically, the new management was making promises to a lot of the advertisers that, it's going to be sports centric. We're going to focus on sports because this is a sports company that wants to advertise. And they were trying to guarantee a certain amount of clicks and all this other stuff. Well, management's decision pissed off the staff. The staff walked out. Management was like, well, okay, you're out of a job. And I think within a couple of weeks, it basically folded. Then it was reconstituted and they brought everybody back, or not everybody, but a new staff in. Well, the new staff was both stupid and extremely racist.
Mm-hmm.
So they would always, like on the regular, would not only come out with something ridiculously racist, but stupid and incorrect at the same time. Like, they would just get all over. So when the Miami Dolphins hired their new head coach, guy comes out on Deadspin and says, oh, here we go, another white coach and black coaches are getting left out. Right? Well, it turns out Mike McDaniel is mixed race, half black, just like Obama.
Uh-huh.
Oops. And then they had during the Black Lives Matter movement, there was a controversy where they said something to the effect of, it's racist if you don't support the NBA kneeling for the national anthem and all these other things. And then when they got through COVID and everything else out, the same site said it was basically slavery for white people to watch the NBA because black people are performing for their enjoyment. I'm sorry, but if we don't watch the NBA, it's racist. And if we do watch the NBA, it's racist. Geez, you guys can't be wrong either way, can you? And then, famously this fall, they had the one idiot, Karen Phillips is his name, came out with a scathing expose of a 9-year-old boy who was racist at a Kansas City Chiefs game for wearing blackface. Except he didn't, except he wasn't. They had to rewrite this article, I think, 3 times over before they basically just said, we give up, and lawyers are getting involved now, and the place is just a hot hive of villainy, and now they're going under because they sold to a German outfit. And this is about as cold as it gets. The staff found out about the sale, and within half an hour, they were all locked out of their computers, couldn't get into the Slack channels. They were, fired that quickly. Just brutal. I think it was one of the writers posted. She's like, well, we just heard a German outfit is buying us. They're not retaining staff, and I'm already locked out of the Slack channel, and my computer doesn't work anymore. Something to that.
Yeah, I mean, it was quick.
Yow.
It was like the hatchet came down, whap. That was it.
Don't pack up your desk.
Yeah,
Jeez.
nothing there belongs to you anyway. I just wonder what they're going to do with it. Because Germany is not known for, let's just say, they know how to do clickbait really well. One of their, I'm sure Rex will back me up, and possibly MD here too. There's a newspaper that has a centerfold in it every Sunday.
On Sunday, no
I
less.
believe Das Bild is the one, and so I'm wondering what they're going to do with this site because, even when they have their Eurovision channel over there at midnight, it all goes to prostituting. Prostitutes give you, they have ads for prostitutes, numbers to call,
Really?
Phone sex. Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Come midnight. There could be somewhere in the world, there's a soccer game going on. And come midnight, they'll cut it off just to start all of these ads. Imagine my shock.
Wow. In the United States, they used to play the national anthem.
Yeah, not there. The only, it's really weird because the only time I ever saw German flags was during the World Cup when Germany was in the semifinals. And so they had, German flags everywhere. And I'm going, what took y'all so long? But yeah, they're not very proud. They don't have that German pride type of thing going on over there unless it's World Cup. Then that all that shit's all over the place. But yeah, so I do wonder what they're going to do with the site because I don't know. I have a weird feeling about it.
I don't. I have zero feeling about it. I couldn't. I don't enjoy. I don't take pride or pleasure when journalists lose their job. But with this one, it was like, yeah, you guys got to burn that place down. Just no. Stop whatever you're doing and just end it.
Yeah, it should just die. There should not there's no amount of Phoenix Rising stuff can come out of this. Even when Germans are buying it, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm just I'm growing more and more cynical towards journalism, which is amazing because I'm pretty damn cynical as it is, but I honestly think it's getting worse. It's just, maybe it's my optimism. Maybe it's just, I got a Pollyanna thing towards journalism. That
you?
at some point they're going to get it and start. I mean, journalism as a practice, not journalism as it.
Oh, okay.
As our industry, no.
No.
The concept of journalism, yes. That's what I should probably clarify. There's a difference there.
Right.
And just today I put it in my column. Eric Carmen, the singer, passed away, right?
Yeah.
String of hits. Guy's got, from the 1970s
that was hard,
on.
Yeah.
All by Myself. He had the one from Dirty Dancing, too.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Hungry Eyes. That was in the 80s. I mean, this guy, massive career. A New Jersey newspaper puts this headline out. Singer-songwriter Eric Carmen, who voted for Donald Trump, passed away.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
I mean, I sat there and they rewrote the headline later, and it basically said the same thing. It was songwriter Eric Carmen, who was receiving flack for his Donald Trump opinions, dies at 74 or something like that. It was, how was that relevant?
His entire discography just flushed down the drain because he dared to actually vote.
Oh, by the way, he also wrote some songs and did stuff.
And did some things. Yeah. What? That is so sad.
I mean, this is what passes for journalism these days, I guess. I don't know. I just didn't. I looked at that hard for a while too. I was just like, you really wrote that? Okay, how about that? All right. And this is what happens when your mind is just everything is politics. It's just start and finish. Hey, do you want to go grab a sandwich? Yeah, but how does the shop owner vote?
Seriously, and we're at that point where we target mom and pop shops because of the way they support a certain political candidate. It is ridiculous.
But I mean, you can't even just honor an entertainer for their career. You have to invoke, oh no, we're going to go through his entire discography because he voted for Biden. So he's on the good side, so we're going to give him a good send-off. Dipshits. And I'm not a Trump guy. I'm just saying this is journalism where we're at. And speaking of, did you watch the State of the Union on Thursday?
I did. I even live tweeted it, if you can call it that. I was really not into it. But I figured I'm going to be watching it. I opted not to be on the panel here on KLRN because I kind of just wanted to. I had a feeling my sister was going to call me. So she didn't. She didn't call me.
Oh.
But she did message. And so I figured, well, I guess I'll just watch it and see what this is. And it was the same as last year and the year before. It was the same stuff. So it was no wonder that he could actually regurgitate it. But he did show some signs of cracking and, he went off the script a bit, for which people excoriated him. And it was quite the debacle. My personal thing was, and I didn't see this with anybody else, but when he walked in, and he's greeting people and everything, I'm like, hurry, he's supposed to walk in and just shake hands as he's walking. He should keep walking towards the podium. Mm-hmm. And he stopped to take selfies. And I'm like, what in the Sam hell is going on? I couldn't believe that.
This was not being broadcast across the entire country on every channel in prime time on camera. You have to take selfies too. What are you doing?
I didn't understand.
You're on camera for 2 hours. But on top of that, he was a half hour late showing up. Mm-hmm. Already screwed up. And I love the part because you said he went off script at one point. He went off script to bitch about candy bars.
Yes. I was like, cannot.
And again, the press is covering like, well, we had a speech, but he started to ad lib on the shrinkflation and going after the size. It's like, you're not making fun of him for doing this. He was bitching about the size of a Snickers. I mean, back in my day.
Yeah, and everybody went after Marjorie Taylor Greene for her choice of attire, mostly the cap. People were trying to avoid the fact that it was the shirt that she was wearing that should have been, because it was say her name. And she was criticized because, I kid you not, she co-opted a term that was used by the Black community for Black women who had been shot by police officers. And they went after her for that reason. I'm like, no. Say her name belongs to every woman who has been violated.
Those three words are Black. White people can't say them.
Yeah,
I
was like,
literally saying this.
I'm like, a young woman was brutally murdered by an illegal alien, and you guys are nitpicking about the term illegal, first of all, and whether or not say her name was co-opted from the Black community. Everybody is completely forgetting about the fact that this woman was murdered. It is just, it's amazing to me.
We don't want to offend the murderer. Excuse me, alleged murderer.
Oh, yeah. And then, Trump was the one who let him in. And I'm like, I have issues with the way you phrase that. I really do. I actually took it to another social media site because I knew that we're discussing it in one of my family groups and everything. And I liked somebody's response to one of the comments. And the next thing I know is somebody's writing, "Oh, Aggie's here, so she's going to be really upset." I'm like, fucking A, I'm going to be upset. And it's like, it doesn't affect my family members in Puerto Rico. They really don't see it. But guess what? They just might get a taste of it now that Haiti is like on fire. Because the Haitians aren't just coming to the U.S., people, to the mainland. Haiti is in relatively close proximity to Puerto Rico. And that's considered, an American territory.
Mm-hmm.
So I know friends of my uncle in Dominican Republic were saying that the border has been, they're trying to reinforce the border because they don't want the Haitians coming into the Dominican Republic, obviously.
Really?
Yeah, there's a shock. But, Haitians are leaving and they're going on boats. And they're not just going to Cuba and they're not going to hop over to Santo Domingo. They're going to American territories and the American mainland. That's their goal. They figured it's better there. And they're right. It is better here than in Cuba, obviously. But not every Haitian that's leaving Haiti is, a refugee. And this is what I have to underline every time. When the last time, I think it was in 93, that we had an influx of Haitians coming into Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico open arms and everything. And, guess what? Crime spiked like 67% in the Old Town quarter in San Juan. And they just could not figure out why. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that maybe the influx of the Haitians may have had something to do with it. I don't know. It's just thought. Because everywhere the Haitians went, spiked. The crime stats just spiked, and people just could not make it make sense. And I'm like, seriously? I mean, I'm no mathematician, but I'm pretty sure this is what makes sense to me. And it was, I mean, now there's, the dangers. And this is something I called about 3 years ago. The situation in Haiti has been bad for a very, very long time. Most media keeps a lid on it because of the involvement of the Clinton Global Initiative with the country of Haiti. So they tried not to report on a lot of stuff that's going on. So I had to rely on, newscasts out of Puerto Rico and newspapers out of Puerto Rico to get what was going on. And this barbacoa guy, barbecue, has been trying to instigate and overthrow, I want to say since maybe 2014, 2015, somewhere about there. And he's been trying to get this done. And for a time, he was prevented from doing so because the Clinton Global Initiative was very active on that side of the island. Nobody saw any, I guess, good things coming out of it, but it was there. And because of that, they had a certain protection. My guess is that the only reason that the initiative was there was to funnel money, because there was no infrastructure done. There were no new buildings. Nothing was done. So this guy has been very patiently waiting for the right time to strike. And as soon as there was like a break in the initiative and in diplomatic ties to the U.S., that's when they took advantage. And I was telling people this. I was like, this guy is bad. And it's not just the cannibalism. It's the fact that there is absolutely no respect for any life whatsoever. None. And that's how they see human beings less than cattle, less than chickens, less than anything. They're very expendable. So, now that that's going on, I'm telling people, you need to watch the Florida coast. You need to watch Alabama. You need to start watching those areas, because this is going to get bad. Every time we have an influx of Haitian immigrants, bad things happen. And I cannot stress that enough.
Well, it's it's just kind of surprising when I saw people like, oh my gosh, Haiti's melting down. I was like, that's been going on for generations.
There was a time when Haiti was very prosperous and very stable. It was a breadbasket to the Caribbean. It was a great, Port-au-Prince was a great trading area and everything. And then Cuba happened. And when that happened, the people of Haiti, the government of Haiti, figured out that it was that easy to become a dictatorship. And it has been like that ever since. I mean, I am surprised that place is there's still people living in it. Honest to God, I am shocked that there's still people living in it. Because there's nothing. You don't see, I seldom see pictures of crops. I seldom see pictures of livestock. All you see is, the destruction and the death and the quagmire and all that stuff. And
I was just under the impression that Clinton's fixed everything.
No. That was,
Oh.
What they did was they made certain areas look pretty. So it was like a Potemkin village type of situation going on. And this is what I tried telling everybody. The initiative is not doing anything in Haiti. And everybody was saying, no, they're fixing Haiti, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, they're not. And this is how I know. Because there are people in Santo Domingo that are telling me that nothing is being done. It's all paper. It's all, it's all fake. And you can witness when you see the pictures coming out of Haiti, all of the videos and all that stuff. You look around in the background, there is absolutely no infrastructure whatsoever. And they're in the capital.
Well, did you see the actor Rainn Wilson getting lit up?
I did not.
Well, he came out, I don't know, yesterday, day before, saying something about, the inhumanity and this is the dark soul of our country and, talking about Haiti. And all people had to do was go into his timeline and pull the one up from Inauguration Day when Joe Biden took office. And he said, I'm spending my birthday / Inauguration Day where things are calmer and saner in Haiti.
What?
Which is kind of remarkable in and of itself because you consider America is in a far worse condition today than when Joe Biden was inaugurated, and much better than we don't have cannibal warlords roaming the streets right now.
This is kind of reminiscent. I don't know if you ever read the book State of Fear by Michael Crichton, but at the end, the guy that had been trying to convince people about climate change and was trying to get all the money, funneling that into that initiative, trying to convince people, yes, climate change is a thing and blah, 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 and all that stuff. He ends up going to an area trying to talk to the natives. Well, the natives are cannibalists. So guess what happens to the guy? And I'm imagining that if Rainn Wilson does this, I can picture the ending of that book coming to life right now.
It just, it's part of the course. Though, really, and
this is it's taboo. Cannibalism is considered taboo for our culture, but there are reasons why it's taboo for many cultures. It is not healthy to eat human flesh. And a lot of people don't understand that. They don't. I just want to know where the vegans are at.
That's a question that will never be answered, Aggie. But we have to worry about Snickers bars, and that's our concern over here. Not the real problems in the world, but back in my day, 25 cents to get you a Snickers the size of a canoe.
Aren't these the same people that were saying, well, portion control, people, you really shouldn't be eating that much junk food, blah, blah, blah. And now they're bitching about it because there is less junk food in the bag.
We have so much obesity in this country. Okay, here's smaller sizes. That's unfair.
Yeah, you can't have them.
But this is what cracked me up on Friday after the speech. So everybody pretty much had the same opinion. Holy crap, what was Joe Biden pissed off about? Because he was screaming the whole time.
Stop yelling. I was like, that was my second tweet. Why is he yelling?
Yeah. So whatever B12 shots and caffeine-induced Ensure bottles they fed this guy backstage had that effect. So the White House had to recalibrate. Because everybody was like, that boy was shouty McAngry face last night.
Yes, the term that the journalists were using was?
They literally put out a message. And here, I'm just going to read a list. Mm-hmm. By no means encyclopedic, but quickly. NBC News, ABC News, CBS News, Politico, New York Times, MSNBC, Washington Post, The Hill, CNN, USA Today, CNBC, Reuters, BBC, Semaphore, Yahoo, Daily Mail, Financial Times, The Way Too Early program, and I had to stop there just so I could finish the rest of my column that day. Every single site I just read off to you, 18 of them, and I literally had to stop. Every single one of those sites described the speech as fiery. And not like AP put it out, they all repeated AP. They all had their own spin, but President delivers a fiery State of the Union address. Biden delivered a fiery speech. Fiery State of of the Union delivery. Biden draws battle lines in a fiery speech. It was a fiery stemwinder, a fiery State of the Union presentation. Every single one of them said fiery on command. It was pathetic.
It was an old man yelling at clouds, as Danielle posted. That was beautiful, by the way.
But this is just how lockstep herd mentality the media has for the Democrats. They are just, and we saw it today again with the Her hearing, where he didn't even, he wasn't on the attack on Democrats or anything. He just spoke plain basic truths, and the Democrats looked completely unhinged and out of control as a result.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch.
Like Jayapal was, trying to say, okay, so you've exonerated him, and he's like, well, I didn't exonerate.
Actually, I did
Excuse
not.
me, this is
yes,
my
you
time.
did. This is my time.
Eric Swalwell had a 5-minute question about Donald Trump.
What does that have to do with what Her was doing?
To which Robert Hur's like, sir, I'm here to talk about the investigation. And that was it. I mean, there was like nothing else. Okay, but are you going to disavow the man and say that you're not going to take a job in his administration? I'm here to talk about the investigation we just conducted. and just on it went. It was that kind of nonsense and basically this is what it comes down to. How dare you call him unfit to stand trial? Which basically means they want him to stand trial. They don't even seem to realize that's their argument.
And I think the reason that they probably do, but the reason that they want him to be competent is due to the fact that they want him to run again, for one. And the other is, who's going to put him on trial? And everybody's asking the same thing. Well, if he is competent, he should go to trial. Well, who's going to do that?
Exactly. But did you see any of the transcripts? Because it was hilarious. Mm-hmm. I mean, sad and pathetic, but hilarious at the same time.
I followed Jonathan Turley, and he had screenshots of her transcripts, and I'm reading those, and I'm like, my God, this is incredible. I would be, if I saw one of my relatives talking in such a manner and doing these things, I'm sorry that they would have constant care. They would not be in the public limelight. I mean, this is ridiculous.
And he, they were talking. Well, first off, the press is trying to remember a month ago. Who the hell's Robert Hur to bring up Beau Biden? That son of a bitch. This had nothing to do with the investigation.
Oh, it wasn't him.
The transcript shows clearly it was Joe Biden.
It was Joe.
In response to that question, when my son Beau died, I'm sorry, what? When was this? It was May of 2020. No, sir, it was May 2015. May 2015. Just sad and pathetic. And the transcript, not only that, he was just introducing stories like out of left. I remember I was working at a law firm where a guy lost a testicle and half his penis. And what? At one point, he was talking about the crown molding inside of his home. In one of our rooms, we have 7 different kinds of crown molding. Okay, sir, can we talk about the documents that were at Penn University? Because one is a crinoid on the bottom and the other is a runner on the floor. And then we have He was talking about his Corvette.
Yeah.
And not once, but in 2 occasions, they recorded him making car sounds. The president of the United States was going vroom, vroom, or I get in my Corvette. I want to be there for that. I want to see the president of the United States making car noises. I want that audio or that video or both. And they say Robert Hur was the one diagnosing him. Just out of unreal. It's unreal. But this transcript came out, and it ain't good for him. And the Democrats are just desperate to shoot the messenger and make her look bad, fail. The media is doing everything they can to protect Biden. Fail. We have documents now. So, it was a partisan diagnosis. No, he was just in the room. Pretty much it. So this isn't good for them.
No, it's not.
Not a good week for Joe Biden in general. I mean, the State of the Union, mess. This comes out, mess. Saturday, he's on MSNBC apologizing for calling an illegal immigrant an illegal. And now his communications office has come out to say that he did not apologize for saying illegal. Which means that at some point in time, if we did have a functioning press, somebody should say, which of those lies are you going to go with? That he was wrong for not, or that he did it, or that he did not do what he said you did previously. This is just more evidence, I think, that the Democratic Convention is going to see a different candidate selected.
I don't understand. Well, I do understand why this is going on. It's just, for the life of me, what bothers me is how the left doesn't see.
Well, I think that's the issue, is they do see it. It's just...
Or the voters, I guess,
But this is a craven lurch for power is what this is, because the hatred for Donald Trump is so intense that they will abuse an elderly man in this fashion just to keep him out of office. Basically what it comes down to. But that's where we are anymore. That's, because politics is more important than everything.
Well, it has become far more important than, the country. That's for sure. When we're constantly being gaslit about how, inflation is going down. No, just the rate is slowing. It doesn't mean that it's going down.
Actually, it just went up this month.
Yeah, we've created more jobs. No, actually, these are all the jobs that have been, that went away due to the shutdown.
I'm still trying to figure out how we have the best unemployment in 50 years, but we still have fewer people employed than before the pandemic. I'm at a loss as to how that works out exactly. Unless people just aren't filing unemployment? Probably.
Who knows? Maybe they're pretending to be illegal so they can get their EBT cards and all that stuff without having to work. I mean, this is going to, and it's funny because I was watching that clip from Bill Maher's show, and what's her name? She's the editor of Newsweek. She was on, and he was asking her, do you think that Biden's going to lose Michigan because of anti-Semitism, and because they do have a very large Muslim population and blah, 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 and all that stuff. She says, no, Biden is going to lose Michigan because of what's happening with the auto workers. And she went on to explain, and she was very concise. She went on to talk about how this EV mandates are destroying the auto industry in Michigan, how people are losing their jobs. The unions cannot save these jobs, and the unions are hurting for it. On top of which, you have an influx of immigration coming in that is completely destroying the middle class. You have, people you're gonna get these people to work for you for less than a living wage, while people who are citizens that you have to pay a living wage to, you're not going to hire. So they're going to be unemployed, and she's just going on and on and on about all of the steps that this administration has taken. And the one thing that's going to break it over in Michigan is the auto worker. That's what's going to break Michigan away. And she's telling us, this is how it's going to happen. I mean, we see all the signs, But if the administration thinks it's about anti-Semitism, they're taking the wrong tack, completely taking the wrong tack. And
Well,
you
that
see it
wouldn't
in
be the first
Chicago.
time they do this either, because they took the wrong tack in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this regarding Spanish voters, Hispanics.
Mm-hmm.
They just figured,
yes.
they're Hispanic, they're going to vote for us. Meanwhile, the Republicans were targeting each individual group, Cubans, Venezuelans, and this and that. And this is why now it's about a 50-50 or even majority GOP vote in Florida with Hispanic voters, because the Democrats just completely dropped the ball. So they're going to do the same thing in Michigan. That's cool. Get out of their way. But I just wrote about the EV marketplace a week or so ago, where you can't find good news anywhere.
No.
There's besides the major automakers that are all backing out, Ford has lost $6 billion on EV in the last 3 years. The first 2 years they lost $3 million, and then last year they lost $3 billion alone last year.
Yes.
They're walking away from it. GM the same, but there's a number of other EV specific automakers. That one makes a truck, one makes a high-end $300,000 electric luxury vehicle. Its stock is trading at 20 cents.
I mean,
you need about 5 million shares to pay for that car.
And I'm watching TV, and all of a sudden, John Cena's ad, not the one that he's in, but the one that he narrates for Ford EV trucks, we're on path for, being, for our EV challenge, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And I'm going, are you even paying attention, seriously, of what's going on? I know they've closed down. Which one was the one? Isn't there one, a car maker in Missouri, a car plant in Missouri for EV vehicles that's using a coal?
Oh, that was a battery plant. It's in Kansas.
The battery plant.
I think it was Panasonic was going to start a plant up to make car batteries. It needs so much power they had to reconstitute a shutdown coal plant specifically for
for
facility.
And the thing is, a lot of people, when you go out and buy an EV, and this is the experience that I have seen with my former neighbor, where I used to live near San Antonio, they bought a Toyota Prius, and they really, really liked it. And then came time for the battery to be changed. They had to pay to ship that battery to a place in California.
Holy crap.
And then to replace the battery was an additional $12,000. But when they shipped the battery out to California, they paid in the 4 figures to ship it.
Sure.
And it was mandatory. But this is not something that they tell you when you're buying these vehicles. And they tell me, it's like, we really like the whole, and of course, they had to upgrade their electric panel and all that stuff too, which is something that they didn't tell them when they bought the vehicle. They bring the vehicle home. They the only place they can plug it in, they don't have a place to plug it in. So they couldn't even drive the car until they had upgraded the electrical panel and installed the plug, because the plug was completely different. The guy said, if you have a washer dryer plug, that's all you need. That's what he told them when they bought this vehicle, and that is not true. And there's a lot of information that is not given out to people who actually purchase these vehicles. They're not cold weather vehicles. They are incendiary if you flood.
There was a guy up in Canada recently. He said, he pulled into a gas station. Like the convenience store was closed, but he's still pumping gas. And there was a guy that pulled up to the electric charging station and plugs his car in. He goes, and it's like brutally cold, like 0 degrees, something like that. So the guy comes racing over so he could sit inside, but the place is closed. So he had to stay in his car, which means the car had to run with the heat on, which means it was barely charging above his usage, which means he had to basically sit there for 10 hours just to get a charge up to the next place. Because everything you use in the car is battery, radio, heat, you name it. You're taking away your mileage. So they say, oh yeah, it's got a range of 300, unless you use the radio.
Yeah, and it's not just those things. These cars are, by design, a lot heavier than normal vehicles. You're having to deal with the infrastructure of parking garages, roads, bridges, all sorts of things, because these vehicles are heavier. And a parking garage is not designed to have all EVs. As a matter of fact, the parking garage over at BAMC, if you have an EV, you must park on the first floor. That it's all reserved. Now half of it is reserved for EVs because they cannot have EVs on the upper levels because it's a strain.
Right.
And people don't think about that. The fact that these batteries cannot be recycled, these things are toxic, and you can't. I mean, they don't tell you any of this when you're buying this vehicle. You actually have to do your research before you go in there, and then if you ask, I will bet you anything that very few of the salesmen are going to be well versed in the whole structure of the EV that you're buying.
And I also looked into just the lifetime usage and such. And when you factor in, like all the greenhouse to manufacture the battery, everything else, then you've got your usage, how much, whatever benefit over fuel you're getting. It almost takes the entire lifetime of the battery before you start a net gain on greenhouse gases, whatever you think you're saving. Right about the time you hit a plus on that is when you have to change out the battery. And so you're all the way kicked down into the negative and underwater once again. And that's all part of the problem in this stuff that they don't want to address. Or they don't want to tell us about.
We toyed with the idea of having solar panels out here. And after, I said, you know what? I want to research everything that goes into a solar panel and where they're coming from. And when I learned all that I did, I nixed it. I said, I don't care. I don't care if it is a great energy source. We'll make our own, or until I can find somebody that makes them here and they don't have all of the unrecyclable stuff in them. We're not moving. We're not doing it. And I seldom put my foot down. Huh?
They talk about.
I can barely hear you. Sorry. I think Brad went away. But I decided no, I was going to nix the whole idea of a solar panels on the property and instead get a conventional gas generator. And admittedly, we may run out of gas or whatever, but at least I know where the gas is coming from. The generators made here in the USA. I can deal with that.
So is this better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. What happened?
I don't know. I plugged something in and unplugged it and plugged it back in, and now it works. So there you go.
Okay. So you literally unplugged and plugged it back in. Got
exactly. It. Technology is fantastic.
Isn't it though? But yeah, I'm like, and my sisters are all like, oh, you're just so blah, 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 and all that stuff. And I'm like, yes, I'm extremely old fashioned when it comes to technology. I get that. I completely understand that I'm there. But seeing what's going on outside of Abilene with all of these broken wind turbine fan blades that cannot be recycled or anything, and they've become rattlesnake farms because the rattlesnakes love those things. So they're a danger now. People are putting fences up, and And literally, these things are being dumped right behind an apartment complex. But there's no way to recycle these things. And they break often, you know. And yes, we have wind farms here in Texas, and they're a blight, and people absolutely hate them. They can't stand them. And there's nothing that they can do. And now there's no place to recycle these. There's no way to recycle these things. So I
will say, though, they look really cool when they catch fire.
Yeah, I agree.
It's an awesome effect.
I have a solution for all of this stuff, but nobody ever wants to do my solution.
Well, let's hear it.
Just dump all this shit in a volcano. I mean, seriously, it will break down everything back to its natural elements, and then, eventually becomes a rock again. I don't see any. All of that shit can go. Everything can go into a volcano.
No, but I was talking about greenhouse gas. All they talk about is CO2, but when it comes to manufacturing solar panels, they give off the most pernicious greenhouse gas, like the stuff that comes off of
the
them
noxious stuff. Yes,
is chlorofluorocarbons and all the ones that are 10, 12, 50 times worse than CO2 are dispensed into the atmosphere in order to save the atmosphere. It's just asinine top to bottom. I'm not against green energy if it works. I've yet to see it work anywhere.
But none of it is green.
Efficient. Well,
this is what I try.
This is what I mean
everybody.
by work.
Yeah.
Same thing about recycling. It's been studied that, when you factor in the pickup, the delivery, the processing of all these things, it gives off way more greenhouse gases than they save. Just simple fact. So people recycling glass, rock stupid, because you put it in a landfill, it turns into sand. What do you make glass out of? Sand. And we got kind of an infinite source right there.
Yeah.
And the only thing you can recycle with efficiency is aluminum cans, and that's it. You can reuse aluminum forever. So do that. But if you can find an efficient way to do it, that's the thing. So
very true.
Anyway, let's see. If you take aluminum and stick it in a landfill, well, you just put aluminum back. That's where it came from. So nothing about these environmentalists has impressed me.
No, I was an environmentally aware person when I was in college. I was very much into the whole cleaning the planet and all that stuff. But I did notice that my break started coming when I noticed the whole cleaning of the planet involved my own money. So we would raise money for the project, whatever it was that we were going to do, but I had to fund doing it. So I started wondering, well, where's this money going to? And nobody could ever give me a specific answer. It goes towards programs to teach people about recycling and all that stuff. And I'm like, we learn about that shit for free in school. And we have TV shows that are constantly doing that and ads. I need accountability here.
What the hell kind of education? Like there's people out there that can't.
Yeah, I'm serious. And this was
recycling, smiddling.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I can't. Can you spell it for me so I can smiddling?
So I started doing my own research about environmentalism, and I found that what was becoming environmentalism was actually political activism, and it was not really saving the environment so much as using the idea of saving the environment as a political tool. And so, that was the end of my involvement with such organizations. Yeah. And, conservation and is completely different from what enviro-wackos have going on. So, I'm more of a conservationist than I am an enviro-wacko now, which is a good thing.
There is one thing I should give environmentalists some credit. They've managed to do one thing successfully. They've taught Palestinian protesters how to attack artwork.
Yeah, that's true. But
where was this dipshit at? Was it in Britain? Where?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was at a college. I want to say Cambridge, Oxford. So, I don't know, one of the two. But they not only did they deface the portrait of John Barbour, but then they proceeded to hack it with an X-Acto knife or whatever it was. They just decided to slice it. So they've completely destroyed a work of art, notwithstanding the subject, who has a pretty dark history of his own. You shouldn't attack something that is considered a masterwork of art by an artist who has been, at the forefront of, that particular style of art. And that, to me, is what pissed me off the most. It was that this guy is so committed that he was willing to destroy something in order to get his point across. That's the dangerous guy.
We have a severe lack of throat punching taking place in this world.
Well, I mean, look what happened with the Declaration of Independence. They went in there and they put, the pink powder or the red powder pellets or whatever it was, the stuff they used for gender
Nobody
reveal.
did anything. That's the part that amazed me.
They did something.
Security guards are right next to him and didn't do anything. But if I was in that rotunda when they pulled that crap off, I would have hauled him to the street.
Well, this is what the security guard did. There was a guy that was walking to stop them from doing so. The security guard stopped that guy. That's what the security guard did. And I'm like, that's not the guy you're stopping. And first of all, you're the one that's supposed to be stopping the other two that are dumping this shit. And everybody's telling you, well, the Declaration is protected and all that stuff. And that is not the point. When I went to see the Declaration of Independence, I couldn't even chew gum in the area, okay? I had fucking Nazi security guards checking me to see if I had gum. But
I
these guys come in with these canisters.
I'm looking at the signatures and I'm pointing at sir, please don't touch your glass. Please, don't touch your glass, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have taken some Jell-O powder with me and then raised my fist, and then I could have sat on top of the case, I guess.
Yeah, and this is what pisses me off, that this particular area has always had strict rules about behavior, but these people get away with it. And that's not the only part. I mean, they're throwing shit at the Mona Lisa constantly now. They threw tomato soup at a Monet. They took that was mashed potatoes at the Monet, tomato soup at Van Gogh. And I'm like, why don't you pick something ugly? Okay? But they're always targeting things that globally are recognized as being beautiful and appreciated by everybody in the world. That's why they always target these well-known works of art. Like I told you,
this happened.
They don't go after the Piss Christ. They don't go after the elephant dung Madonna. They don't go after they stole the toilet, the gold toilet, but they never melted it down. So, they don't go after the ugly shit. I don't see Alexander Calder mobiles being attacked. I don't see James Searle's sculptures being attacked, or Claes van Oldenburg, or anybody attacking any of those pop art things. But they always go for those things of beauty that are recognized throughout the world as being quintessentially beautiful.
They did this in one of the galleries in DC last year, I think it was. And, thankfully it was one of this glass case or something. These people spray painted it, and I think they chained themselves to it or such, lathering away about the oil or something. But what got me was I'm reading the Washington Post coverage of this, and they had these people's names, they had all their details and all their messaging down, and they had a video of their protest. And the video started with the people walking up to, sitting down, getting in position, then starting. Washington Post was there ahead of time, knew about it. They had to have been clued in order to be there. It wasn't like we were just happened to be on site. And after they chained up, one of the people walked around them. And I'm checking the names on the article and checking the people, and sure enough, there's one of the writers there. There's another one of the writers there. They were all on scene ahead of time. So these guys called the paper. We're going to go and do this. So the Washington Post rushes over there and gets in position. Nobody stopped them. They didn't tip off the police. We don't want to get in the way of a story. How about the story is you arrested these assholes before they damaged public property? Isn't that enough of a story, or no? You need to have the graphic visuals. And how these people don't get arrested and stay in jail, because one of the guys that did that, somebody else recognized. They were like, this dipshit was doing one of the street protests last month, and they had video, and sure enough, there he is, like a 50-year-old guy, yellow vest, sitting Indian style in the middle of the street with a bunch of other people. It's like, this guy clearly has no job. Stick him in jail so he stops doing this shit. Because that's all he's good for. This is all he does. He's not accomplishing anything. And until we start punishing these people upright, like the one that trashed that painting, whatever the value of the painting is, base their sentence on that. And this crap will stop very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a $5 million painting. Okay, that's 10 years. That message will get out to these stop the oil assholes real quick.
Oh, no doubt. It would actually disincentivize,
If you're destroying artwork 300 years before there was combustion engines, what are you accomplishing?
My favorite part is like these paintings are oil based. And I'm like, you realize it's not petroleum oil, right? I mean, please tell me that you do know that. And a lot of them do not. They do not know that. They think every oil is petroleum based. Now, keep in mind, these are the same people that eat a McDonald's hamburger and should know better, because there are some things as animal fats. Vegetables actually have a certain amount of fats, And I'm like, are you serious with me right now? They actually do believe that because these paintings are oil-based, that the oil paintings are petroleum-based oil. And I'm like, no. Maybe Jackson Pollock. Oh, and that's another one they won't hit because it's just a mess. So
yeah, if you throw soup on a Jackson Pollock, who's going to notice?
Who's going to notice? Nobody. But it has gotten like so out of hand about this, notice us. But, like I told you, the guy that will willfully completely destroy a work of art is the dangerous one, because he will have absolutely no regard for anything, including human life, in order to get his point across. And that guy, the one that destroyed the John Barbour painting, that guy should be behind bars. Hell, he should be in a padded room strapped to a cot. I'm pretty sure he is psychotic.
Kill Clouseau.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Oh man, now I want to watch those movies. But it's just something that I have noticed. Those that are willing to destroy, not just deface, but completely destroy to the point that there is no way to actually repair that particular work of art or that particular thing. They're willing to kill for their message, to kill for their cause. Those people are dangerous. And that's, when I saw this guy, taking a knife to it, I was like, they need to lock up this guy. That's the guy that Out of
Yeah.
all of them, that's the one that I would lock up.
Leo
No question.
DiCaprio on the sofa right now. Him.
Yeah. Like, that's exactly. I was doing the meme.
You know what? We should have something uplifting. We've been kind of down.
I know. We had a lot to catch up on though, because we were preempted last week by
Well, how
Super
about,
Tuesday.
has there been anything uplifting in the archaeological fossil field by chance?
I did hear something.
Did I just hear a gasp?
You did. This has been Aggie's Archaeological Week. First my book, and now this. But yes, I did hear that there was some actually really cute, really cool news from the archaeological world.
A new species was discovered.
Yep.
Well, do tell. You're the one with the digging history.
No,
We're on tenterhooks, bro. What you gonna say next?
Well, there was a new species discovered. It's a new fossil, and it's being named after someone.
See, I don't know about the pronunciation because I don't do Latin, but they're calling this, I think, Serpula aliscooperii.
Serpula aliscooperii. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it was discovered somewhere in, I think, one of the islands off the coast of Denmark, or one of the Danish islands, whatever. But it's a worm. It's a marine worm, and it is spectacular that they're naming this after Alice Cooper. But as you and I have discussed, I mean, shouldn't Keith Richards get...
Well, this is the thing. No, you stepped on the punchline. Why'd they name this after Alice Cooper? Because this fossil was only 190 million years old, so they couldn't name it after Keith Richards. They need to find an older one. There you go.
You know, I thought that it was really cool that they're, you know, that this was kind of a tribute. And I think it has something to do with the shape of the antenna at the head of the body of the worm.
Phalanges.
Thank you. Because it resembles his eyes, his eye makeup. Just like... I'm sure that Cooper thinks that this is fantastic. And I mean, because, you know, once you have a species named after, it's very difficult to change the name of that species. I mean, once it's in the record, the genus and the species, once it's done for the most part. So, you know, he's not the only one, apparently, that has fossils named after rock stars, but he is the latest one, and it's really cute. I mean, it's an adorable looking little.
Is it though?
I think so. I think it's just, you know, I mean, I'll put it in the chat.
There we go. I found it.
Okay, did you find it? Okay, so it just looks it has the look. Okay, the eyes. I saw it right away, and I think it's cool. I think it's kind of neat. I mean, but you're right. They have to find something much older to be able to name it just after Keith Richards.
Oh, damn it. How do I get it? It's not.
What?
I was trying to get the image up. Trying to bring it over. The hairy
Danielle
worm that it
posted
is.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course she
Danielle.
did.
Yeah.
She's good like that.
Yeah. So it's Jurassic worm, and I think it's pretty cool. A lot of people don't appreciate it, but it's kind of a big deal to have a fossil, a plant, an animal, living named after you. It's because your name will live on for a very, very, very long time.
I think a couple of years ago, somebody found something and they named it after Joe Biden. And in the description, they were talking about how it's a spineless anthropoid or something. It's like, you probably didn't want. Okay, spot on. I'll give you points for that. It was like archaeologists were trolling.
But this brings to light that even though this is a fossil, this is a constant thing. It's not a one-off. I mean, there are thousands of species being discovered every year. So usually the scientist or scientist adjacent, because sometimes it is their helper or a TA out in the wild or whatever, whoever discovers it usually gets to name it. And most of the time they're named after, one particular thing that stands out. Sometimes they want to name it after a person they know, somebody in their family line, or, but sometimes, after somebody that they think is kind of cool, or, this is actually a way, not just for the person they're naming it after to be, immortalized, but the person doing the naming also gets it immortalized. People will always remember, oh, you're the guy that discovered the Alice Cooper looking worm, that kind of thing. So it's really cool when that happens. And I know when I was at A&M, one of the microbiologists that was there, that he would go on sabbatical every summer to some godforsaken place in the Amazon. And that was his thing. He just wanted to discover something new because he wanted to name it after his father. I mean, that was his goal in life, to discover something new to name it after his dad.
How about for science? How about for the environment? How about for the edification of nature? No,
don't be fooled.
Just for your name, just for your family.
Nope, don't be fooled. And you know what? Astronomers are the same way. They want to be able to find something new up there in the heavens so that they could, possibly name it after themselves. Or
please! Every Christmas, I get to name a star for somebody. It's not a big deal.
Oh, for God's sake!
International Star Registry. Online, $60. You get a star. There you go. Your $50 million education in astrophysics. I beat you.
You do not. You do not do that, do you? Please tell me you don't.
No, I don't. But I just wanted to stick it right in the fat face of these astrophysicists. Fuck it, Neil Tyson. Did you see somebody the other day really lit him up because he was bitching about global warming? He's like, the state of Florida is going to be underwater.
He lives in Nantucket.
Yeah, and people are like, dude, you live on an island with an elevation lower than the high point of Florida. So maybe you could buy some sandbags for yourself and leave the Floridians, i.e. me, alone. Well, the highest point in Florida is only 329 feet. I suck at Neil Tyson because I can go to the landfill over by my house and it's 400 feet easy. Go have a wrestling match with somebody over Pluto. We got bigger things to worry about in Florida, right? But
Pluto is a planet. I will die on that hill.
We should close out with some interesting information from the CSI Long Island.
Yeah.
There's a deep investigation going on. According to the vegan grocery store Cindy Snacks. They have revealed that there's a possible controversy taking place in their bakery section. They have been selling vegan and gluten-free donuts from a vegan bakery in town called the Savory Fig. And the owner, by the name of, this is still an ongoing investigation, so I don't want to implicate her, so I will not use her name for the sake of protecting the innocent until proven guilty. But the Savory Fig recently dropped off a box of baked goods for sale at Cindy Snacks. While they were loading the donuts into the display case, one of the sharp-eyed workers noticed something. One of the donuts had some very distinctive sprinkles on it, most of them in the shape of a letter D and in colors of orange and pink.
What?
Reminiscent of some savory items for sale at a national donut chain by the name of Dunkin' Donuts. And upon noticing this, management at Cindy Snacks sprung into action and pulled the donuts from the case and set them aside. The questionable treats quite literally looked straight off of the shelves of Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, no.
So the owner of Cindy Snacks actually got, and I'm both amused and not amazed that this exists, a home gluten test kit.
Oh my God. Okay.
This is apparently a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Yes. So after becoming immediately concerned as to why this renegade donut was amongst the others dropped off by the vegan bakery, pulled them aside and ran a test on the particular donut, and sure enough, it was loaded with gluten. So despite the owner of the vegan bakery assuring them that she made the donuts herself, they decided to take them off, and now an investigation has gone into play.
Wow. I mean, it's bad enough that New York City is descending into chaos. By God, you do not mess with the Dunkin' Donuts. You do not mess with the donuts. You just don't.
I would like to see this get to the point of pressing charges and arresting the baker and not letting her out, while the murderers and car thieves are given free bail and they can walk on the same day of their crimes.
Well, of course they can, because, Hochul decided, hey, I get that I sent the National Guard in there, but you can't have your long guns. Sorry, you're gonna have to put those away. So of course they can get away with anything. The National Guard is impotent now. Not that they should be there in the first place, but still.
I would just love to be there, in the jail cell. What are you in here for? I resold Dunkin' Donuts. I'll cut you, bitch.
That may play in Boston.
Be yeah. The next hit song from the Dunk Kings. You're gonna sell a donuts, you better come proper.
Oh my God, the Dunk Kings. That was quite possibly my favorite commercial. I will admit that. All right. Well, on that note,
yes,
please take a deep breath and tell us where we can find you, Brad.
I am available on a daily basis.
Jail.
Over at townhall.com, you can see my media column there entitled Drift from the Headlines. Also on the front page of Real Estate on a regular basis, where I ply my trade also with a twice weekly media podcast called Liable Sources, diving even deeper into the muck of the mainstream media. You can also hear me on this very more often. Thursday night, I'm going to be here with Paul Young from ScreenRant.com. He and I are going to go through the dark side of Hollywood and the dirty underbelly of entertainment with bad movies, with disasters in the making. alternate Thursdays, I'm here with Woody Packard, going through all the important entertainment information on the culture shift. And, of course, every Tuesday at 8:30 right here with the ever-best in Aggie Region. And if you need more of me than that, let's face it, you do, head over to Twitter. You can find me at Martini Shark. And what about you, Aggie? Where can people find more of your magnificence?
Well, you can find me at Aggie Weekend and at Aggie the Barkeep. Those are over on X. You can also find me Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, doing the Culture Lounge. But maybe we should do the Culture Lounge. The Cocktail Lounge with you. Friday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, doing He Said, She Said with our beloved producer Rick as of late. And once a month, last Wednesday of every month, 8 p.m. Eastern, we do Toxic Masculinity with the guys. And Jeff and I are now doing our book podcast, second Monday of every month, also at 8:30. Thank you for joining us, you guys. Sorry that I lost my train of thought there, but I want a donut.
Should have apologized for that last entry I did. Oh, sorry. And go raise a glass and look at the ceiling.
But then they'll just be reminded that they forgot the dust.